quite a few of my students have wanted to learn this solo, so it seemed like a good idea to do a lesson about it. If you're looking for you've maybe got a few kind of licks under your fingers and you're looking for a good gateway solo that's still quite demanding, relatively well known, but not too difficult that you won't be able to get it, this is a really good one to start on. There's a few cool techniques as well to pick up. So what I'll do now is I'll go through, break down the parts of the solo, explain them a bit better, and then I'll just talk really quickly about getting the kind of tone, or at least a rough approximation of the guitar sound for that solo. So to start off the solo for Paranoid, you want to be up at the 9th fret on the G string. I'd recommend using your 3rd finger, it's up to you. We've got a pre-bend, so rather than hitting the string and bending it like you normally do, what you're doing is pre-bending the string, striking it and then releasing it. So for this you want to aim for a full tone, so the note I'm targeting is this. Bend it a bit sharp, and it's still going to sound good, and I think in the recording he does bend it a little bit sharp. Yep, so after that pre-bend you got the release, down to the 7th fret, back up to the 9th, and a little bit of vibrato here. So that phrase, we've got a 9-7-9-7 on the G string. And what I'd do is I'd use your 3rd finger for this, and on the D string we slide from 9 down to 7. So to recap that bar, then we get 5-7-5-7 on the D string, 5-7 on the A. Just to finish this bar off, we've got another 7 on the A, 5 on the D, 2 7s on the A. So to put that bar in context, we got I'll just recap it from the start. Right, on to bar number 3. Got a little bit of fretboard gymnastics going on here for your left hand, so this is quite good tricks to learn. You're playing the 5th fret and hammering on to the 7th on the D string. Oops. After that we've got a slide from the 7 up to the 9th. So that move, if you've not come across it before, is worthwhile practicing a little bit by itself. And this is why I use the 3rd finger for the slide down to get in position for the 2nd bar, and why we use this finger to slide up here is because we're now in position for the next bit. So you've got, then we've got a hammer on from the 7 to the 9 on the G, then just play the 9th twice more. Next we got a slide from the 7 to the 9, but what I'd recommend doing is using your 2nd finger, because it lines up really nicely for the next notes, which are 8 on the B and 10. So there's quite a lot to digest, so I'll just go back from the start of bar 3. So hopefully you can see there when I went for that slide, I switched to my middle finger. So after this bar, we've got that 8 and the 10 that we just covered on the B. You've got a pre-bend on the 10, and we're aiming for this note here. So again, pre-bend, release, then we're down to 8. We've got another pre-bend on the 10, and another release, then down to 8. So that bit. So now I'll recap that from, I'll go from bar 3. So. Right, I'll play that just quickly from the start just to give you an idea of the rhythm and how it all fits together. Right, so I went a bit ahead there, and that's what we've got next. We've got the, after the bends, we've got the 8th fret on the B up to 10, back down to 8, 3 9s on the 7, on the 3 9th frets on the G string, then down to 7, and then we've got another 3 9s. On the 4th one, what you want to do is be more concerned about sliding up to the 14th fret. So if you hit the 9, or you've already started the slide, doesn't matter too much. And at the end of the slide, you want to bend the 14th fret up. Here's a quick recap from the start. So there's the next two notes after this bend. You want 12th fret on the E, down to 15th on the B. So you got that slide. After this we've got two bends on the 15th fret on the B still. On the second bend you want to add a bit of vibrato. So the trick here is to bend it, and then rather releasing and going into the bend, just try and bend, like little bends, the vibrato from your bend position. So we bend, hold, and then try and add the vibrato. See, if you go too fast you'll get that really thin sound, so you want to try and keep it a bit steadier. It is fast, so you only get a little bit in there. Just start off slow with anything on guitar, as always, and then build up a bit of speed, bit of strength. So you got. So after that, we've got 15 on the B down to 12. Then we've got two bends on the 15th fret on the high E. Third one's a pre-bend, it's already bent. Release, then down to 12. So those bends. So from the start of bar 5. After that we've got the 12th fret, still on the E. Then we've got 15th fret, followed by a pull off to the 12th. Then 15 on the B. So to put that bar in context, right, the next bar we've got the same idea, so 15th fret on the E, pull off to the 12th, down to 15th on the B. So again, now you could do it like this, whatever is more comfortable. I just find using these fingers the best combination for me. So I'll do a quick recap. I'll just go from bar 3 to keep things a bit speedy. Right. So after this we've got a similar idea to before, but what we're doing is 12, hammer onto 15, pull off to 12 on the B string. Then we've got 14 on the G, and you want to bend this. After this you've got 12 on the B, up to 12 on the E. And the easiest way to do this is to roll one finger. You can do this, but in the long run, learn to do that, it's going to be much more beneficial. This is, it's a rock and roll staple, it's everywhere. So you got that. Then we got 15 on the B again, pull off to 12. Then we're down to 14 on the G, 12, 14 on the D, then we're back up to 12 on the G, 14 on the G, and there's a little bend here. On the recording, this isn't, in terms of musical accuracy, it's not perfectly intonated, but it's just got so much attitude and filth. It's a great bend. So it's like a three-quarter tone rather than a full tone bend. We're bending it up, releasing, and then pulling off to the 12th fret, which you don't totally hear that. It's quite kind of slurred, but great playing. So to recap from bar 6. I'll do that a bit slower because there's quite a lot going on there. Right, so So on to the next bar, we've got a bend on the 14th fret, G string still, and you want it to be a semitone. After that bend you kind of want to mute it, so we're not really releasing that one, we're bending it and we're cutting it off. I'm just using a bit of the flesh of my palm. That's one way to do it, or you can kind of lift this finger up. Palm's a bit better, but we've got a trill, so 12th fret on the G up to 14, back down to 12, hammer on, pull off. So just to recap there, I'm playing the 12th fret, hammer on 14, pull off to 12. Down to 14 on the D, back up to 12 on the G, back down to 14, one more 14 and a pull off to 12. So to put that in musical context, do it a wee bit slower. After this we've got 12th fret on the D string, got a 12th fret on the A string and we're sliding down to 10. Then we play the 12 and pull off to the 10 this time. Then 12 on the E. This next bit, you're sliding from 12 to 14. You don't really hear the slide at the note of the 12. You just kind of hear it. So you can even do a hammer on, you can even go if you find it easier. Because sometimes if you're just starting out doing something like this roll with this finger can be a bit tricky. I'd recommend trying to get in there. If you find that too hard, you can. So the alternative way is to hammer onto 12 and then slide up to the 14, but what I'd recommend doing is just 12 and then slide up. So that bar, that 7th bar, and to finish things up, bar number 8, we've got two 12s on the D, up to the 14th, 12 on the G, 14 on the D, down to the 12, slow, and a bit slower. Then we've got dyads, or double stops, so we're playing two notes together. So I'm playing the 12th fret on the D and the G strings. You could play them like this, but in the long run learning to bar notes with the finger is pretty beneficial. So we got that one. Same idea, but on the A and D strings, 12th fret again. Just those two. And then up to the 14th fret again on the A and D strings. So those double stops. That last bar will go like this. At the end you could add in the if you're going back into the rhythm guitar. So that there, we've got 12 on the D, G and B strings, and I'm just sliding down after for a bit of an effect. So what I'll do now is play from the start, and hopefully this has all made enough sense to you to be able to follow along. Okay, so the other thing that's worthwhile talking about is the sound he gets for the solo. Now I remember when I first heard this, it took me a little while, but I did notice there was something going on other than just the guitar. You can hear something happening, and you've just got a kind of a limited guitar vocabulary. You don't know what it is. It sounds cool, but you don't know what it is. So as you get a bit more on, you learn about effects and stuff, and what it sounds like is the guitar is being doubled an octave below. There's a few ways this could be happening. The main ways would be he's using a doubler octave divider and he's doubling the solo down while playing it. The other way, which is a bit more likely, is he's using a bit of a fuzz distortion. Now what a fuzz will do is it will bring out harmonics and overtones. Because it's a stringed instrument, there's loads of this stuff going on. I've got a tiny bit of that effect on just now. If you play on the bridge pickup, it's a bit more prominent. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the solo to Purple Haze has got a great example of the fuzz really bringing out the harmonics in the solo. So if I'm on the bridge pickup, you can maybe hear it a little bit. So what you're listening for is not necessarily the note, but kind of notes around the note. So it's like a very zen thing, but it is. So there. The other way to do it is if you are on the bridge pickup, if you roll down the tone a bit. So it's what is a fuzz is a square wave. Apparently they were originally invented to try and mimic horns. But it sounds nothing like a horn section, but it is very smooth. So someone like Eric Johnson uses this fuzz face quite a lot. Fuzz pedal to get a really smooth sound. So if you've got something like that, it's worthwhile experimenting putting a little bit of fuzz distortion in rather than just distortion or overdrive. If you've got an octave divider, slam that on and you'll get the lower octave playing the solo underneath. Cheers!